listening to the best of the Griot Nation on the People Station, 93.7 WBLK.
It's about life, love, and liberation. One of the OG original street warriors. Images shape your reality. Brother Amon, Rashidi.
Hip-hop has infiltrated every single facet of American culture.
The same necklaces charge the same price with the same lyrical content of I'm doing it to the beat.
Don't nobody stand for nothing.
Whoever controls the minds of your children controls the destiny of your race.
These words may end up being something that may save your life.
Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts. Amon, Rashidi.
Hotep Griot Nation, it is your man Amon Rashidi, a.k.a. Papa Rob.
Doing the ones and twos, the math on the second half. It's the unseen, y'all.
And as usual, it's going to be another powerful show
God.
tonight. It's going to be unique, you all. We're going to be talking about the history of our enslavement.
Unbelievable.
Dr. Joy Degruy is going to take us on a journey that's totally unbelievable. You got to go get your family, go get your friends, and let's find out the history of our lineage. What is some of the issues that brought us to this behavior? It's gonna be powerful.
Man, let's
Sit
give
back,
it to
listen.
you, y'all.
Hotel!
Wow.
Liberation. I'm a Rashidi with the Griot Nation. The Griot Nation. Life, love, liberation. I'm a Rashidi with the Griot Nation. Life, love, liberation.
All right, Hotep to my Griot audience. This is your man, Amon Rashidi, a.k.a. Papa Ra. And as I promised you, we got on the line. Last week, in a conversation I was having with Sister Denotra Rose, we were talking about some of the issues that we were facing in the African-American community. And many of those issues were based on things that happened to us a long time ago. Now, many of y'all know my opinion regarding this. Remember I said, if you take me from my homeland against my will, that's not slavery, that's kidnapping. If you take sex away from my daughters and my granddaughters against their will, that's not slavery, that's rape. If you castrate me to instill fear and cut my foot off when I run, I told you that's not slavery, that's terrorism. And if you strip me of my name, my language, my culture, my religion, and my values, that's not slavery, that's genocide. So I say we have allowed someone else to define the injustice that have been put upon us. And in that, sister, as I was going on my rant with Sister Rose, she recommended you, and she had mentioned you in the past, and I had an opportunity to go through the book and skim it, but I had just been blown away by your presentation. I saw the PowerPoint presentation, and let's talk a little about the post-traumatic slave syndrome, the book that you've written. I think it's just a blow-away model for us. So talk to us a little about it.
Well, post-traumatic slave syndrome is exactly what it sounds like. What I am suggesting is that hundreds of years of slavery and of trauma resulted in injury. And that injury, and most people, like most of your listeners, will be familiar with post-traumatic stress disorder. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a disorder that occurs as a result of experiencing a single trauma. Meaning, someone sees someone killed, violently killed. Not only may that person be traumatized as a result of directly experiencing that, but someone that hears the shot outside the door, didn't see it but heard it, could be traumatized. The people who are related, family members who live in another state, may hear the details and be traumatized. And that's a single trauma. Now, at the same time, there could be someone sitting right next to that individual that saw it that's not traumatized. Okay, so everyone has a differential response to a traumatic event. But when we talk about American chattel slavery, and I say chattel deliberately, and I'll speak to that, but when we talk about American chattel slavery, we're not talking about a single trauma. We're talking about hundreds of years of trauma. And not one, but a lifetime of it. So then one has to ask a fundamental question. And as a clinician, he asks a fundamental question, is it plausible that after several hundred years of being beaten, sold, raped, mutilated, lynched, if you think that the end result of that is that the battlefield somehow got leveled because folks got freed, then there's something questionable about how you're thinking about it. So now let's take a look at this from another vantage point. So a question that always arises is, well, how are you looking at something in a contemporary society that was impacted by something that happened centuries ago or whatever? So now let's take a look at that, and I kind of help people understand how I got there. The way I got to the research in the first place was I basically looked around my own community, my own environment, and people that looked like me. And I grew up, I'm 54 years old. I grew up in an environment where when someone wanted to assault or insult you, they put black in front of it. So they called you black, whatever else it was. You know, black was always the thing used to hurt you. Now, when you look at other groups of people, they don't usually put their ethnicity or characteristic of their as a part of the assault.
Right.
So when you look at it, you have to ask the question, now, first of all, why are you doing that? Number two, why do you think that should injure me?
Well,
are you following me?
Here's the other thing I want to add to that, too, is when I'm working with young black boys, in particular with working with kids involved in gangs, I hear kids get into it all the time, Dr. Griot, and you reminded me of that when I hear him say, you black, you big nose, or you nappy head. I always say he's cursing every feature and characteristic that is an age of his own because he's uncomfortable with who he is, and he don't know. And you just hit that point.
Exactly.
I picked that up, but go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to intervene in that.
And it's the same thing. You know, we have a film, that just came out, Dark Skin Girls.
What is it called?
The whole idea, the film, there's a film out that it's called Dark Skin Girls.
Okay.
And it's really, it's like a documentary around what it feels like to have dark skin. And we're not talking about what white people do to you. We're talking about what black people do to you.
Right.
Then there's the whole issue around good hair. These are all symptoms of post-traumatic slave syndrome. You understand what I'm saying? So when you look at it, you say, yeah, but that happened a long time ago. But look at the residual impact. The residual impact is we hate each other in 2012. We're still talking about good hair and weave in 2012. We're still talking about being light-skinned in 2012.
Come on, sister.
So you look at that and you realize that, no, you weren't impacted by the original trauma directly. But what happens in that environment? I always give this example because people can wrap their head around it a little easier, and it's so pervasive across, even across class. So you have a black mother, white mother. They both have children. It's 2012. Both of them say have sons. The sons go to school together. Sons play together. Sons good friends. Spend the night over each other's house. All that. Little boys growing up together. Black mother, white mother find themselves at a school meeting, and seated next to them are their sons. The black mother leans over and says to the white mother, well, I just wanted to mention to you that I really believe your son, is coming along. And she goes, oh, thank you so much for saying so. And she just goes off and tells him, he's in a talented and gifted program. He won the science fair, and she's just proud. His uncle's an astronaut. So this mother is oozing with respect. You got to cut her off. She's so excited about it. So then the white mother realizes at that moment that the black mother's son is actually excelling her son. He's actually doing better. So she's, kind of thinks to herself, well, what am I saying? Turns to the black mother and goes, well, my son, well, your son's the one that's really coming along. Well, I hear he's really, really coming along. And the black mother's response, and this is not gender specific, this could be men, white men, black men, it doesn't matter. She turns and says to her, at the moment she says, gosh, your son is really coming along, she turns around and goes, yeah, girl, but you could have seen him yesterday. Whoa, that boy's a mess. Lord, it just works my nerves. Right? A real typical knee-jerk, response. We have become so accustomed to it as African Americans. We're normalized. Right. So the white mother's response to her statement is, my goodness, they're so negative. Why are they so negative? Now the secret, the intracultural reality, is that everybody black knows that even though she's saying, oh girl, you just seen that boy yesterday, she's really proud. Her response is not matching what she's feeling. Because what she's feeling inside is pride, but what's coming out of her mouth is, girl, they's a knucklehead. Whoa, that boy, right? But she's really proud. So when you look at that behavior and you put it in context, of course, we say, well, she's just being modest. Well, is she? So what I did over, a period of 6 years is I was reading, slave narratives. I was reading everything I could find. I was interviewing elders. I was doing, again, radio interviews. I had callers calling in. I really took a look at that behavior. And its etiology, its beginnings, as far as I could find it, as it relates to African American people, dated back to slavery.
Well, let me interrupt you, Dr. Griot. So I want to go back because I thoroughly went through your presentation, and I want to make sure I'm making the correlation correctly. Is that the model where you say we denigrate to protect them? I remember you discussing that. Okay. All right. I want to make sure I'm on the same page. Okay.
So what happens is, you if you look at it in the context, when slave owners would come around, and you had black men or women with their children, and the slave owner, male or female, would comment about this child being, that boy of yours. Hey, that boy's sure coming along. Well, if it's a slave master, what is your response going to be? It's going to be, oh, no, he's not. He's stupid. He's shiftless. He's lazy. Because I don't want you to sell him.
That's right.
This is my daughter. I don't want you to breed her.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want you to take her from me. So it became an appropriate adaptation for living in a hostile environment. So then you have to take a look at that in context and say, well, when did we have a group therapy so we can stop doing that behavior?
Okay. Now, but let me ask you this, Dr. Griot. So that pathology, is that continuing to develop even in the worst manner since we haven't been corrected until you come along and helped us identify this? So you're saying if we don't deal with this now, we're going to make this worse? That pathology worsen? Okay.
Wait a minute. It's metastasized in people, tattooing the B word across their breast.
I got you.
Come on now. It's become, because you see, what people don't understand is in the midst of this process, the injury. Now, I'm talking about that injury, which I have identified, and anyone that wants to kind of take a look at that in 3 categories: vacant esteem, racist socialization, and ever-present anger and violence. Those are the things I looked at. That's what I looked at as a response. That's not all, but that's all I had time to look at.
Right.
So now let's look at that in terms of, because in saying that, in talking about that particular layer, the historical trauma, now let's put a couple of more layers on it. Let's put poverty. Let's put crack cocaine.
Come on.
Okay? Let's put materialism. Let's put all of those things on top of what I just talked about.
Good job.
And that's what you're seeing right now. And what I guess what angers me the most is people look and go, what's wrong with them? Why can't they? And you look at that and go, break my legs and then complain that I left. And so you look at that, and for me, the first thing I wanted to do as I began to look at this is to speak to my people about the behavior.
Right.
To give them some tools. For first of all, they don't think that was broken.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, after all, we got a black president, and we got billionaires, we got Tiger Woods.
There you go.
There you go. Those are materialistic variables that we put in place to say we made it.
Of course. We become the authors of our own demise because our ignorance makes it so. It's part of what Woodson talked about, the mystification of the Negro. And he talked about that, and people, one of those famous statements that people say all the time, he talks about that statement, and it is indeed profound, because when you control a man's thinking, you don't have to tell him where to go. You don't have to tell him the back door. He'll go without being told, and if there's no back door, he will cut one out.
Yes, Lord.
Because his education makes it necessary. However, the statement that follows that is far more powerful.
Well, let me ask you this too here, and this goes into some of these other behavior patterns that I've seen in reference to the subculture that's come through gang violence and prison culture that has manifested itself back on the streets. And one of the things that I'm finding out is we're having these sexual conquests of brothers. Used to be in the penitentiary. If you get into a conflict, if you lost, you would be raped in front of everybody. Well, I got young boys now who get into a conflict, and if the G is left there helpless, he will be raped in front of them. And then I got young boys right now who it's 10 or 15 who are enforcers in cliques, and if a girl come along, she comes in as a breeder. And she has to have sex with all the enforcers, and when she has a baby, no one knows who it is because they can't use a condom. It's called a crip baby or a blood baby. And all I'm hearing from you is this stuff is manifesting itself based on the trauma we had a long time ago.
And based on the fact that it is now metastasized, this is something far more dangerous.
Wow.
And what I'm saying is that, again, whatever you call it, we better get to it.
Come on, sister.
Okay. But I gave people context, a lens whereby they can look at this in a different way.
Right.
Because we've never really looked at it. We've never even been given permission to look at it. The moment you mention slavery or anything about history, I think they're planning on erasing it in Texas.
You know what?
Texas and in Tennessee and in a variety of other places. They're saying they want to remove it all the way. They don't even want to attribute it to the founding fathers anymore because it's amazing. They don't even want to say chattel slavery. This is being removed. Now, understand, this is not just a conversation. This is being done, and it's being replaced with information around the heroes, what they call, the heroes of the Confederacy. And that's like telling Jewish people, we're going to celebrate Hitler.
You know what? And here goes the other part of that.
Celebrate Hitler. We don't celebrate Hitler. And they're doing that right in front of our faces. That has been done. Okay? I'm not talking about something that's going to be done.
That's being done.
Been done. They have put the Confederacy into textbooks on history. They're removing connections between the Founding Fathers and slavery, and they're suggesting that it wasn't a bad idea anyway.
And a lot of the things that I want to go back to, some of the other things that you validated when I watched your presentation, was that a lot of these things manifest themselves, supposedly had to have some kind of education or some kind of reference, but it was just, some of this stuff was just thrown out there. And then some of the laws, like one of them, I don't remember the name of it, but if I can quote it, remember you said no white could ever be raped. No white could ever rape a slave woman. The regulations of law as to the white race on the subject of sexual intercourse does not, I forget what it was. I didn't get it all, but you were saying there was a law that said
and do not apply to slaves. Their sex is permissible.
Boy, that is deep. So that mean by law, what that was saying is that you couldn't rape us, and we were 3/5 of a human. Man, that's, when I think back this, and you put some of this into context, and I know it's so much, and we got a short period of time. But let me tell you something, Susan. I had to cut it off when I was listening to you and go outside and just calm myself when I saw what was it, Dr. Sims, or I forget his name, when you started talking about the procedures that they were doing on women. The sister, would you talk to me about that, please? I want our audience to hear that.
Well, first of all, there's and I have to put this up because she's done such tremendous work, and that's Harriet Washington's medical apartheid. So what we know about, and what your audience has to put in context, J. Marion Sims was a physician in the mid-1800s who was credited with the creation of the first vaginal speculum. Vaginal speculum is an instrument designed to open up the vagina, and every woman in the world probably knows about this instrument. He became one of the wealthiest physicians to have ever lived, having created that instrument. But he created that instrument by conducting painful medical experiments on African slave girls and women with no anesthesia. And he reasoned that they didn't need anesthesia because their race made them more durable, and therefore they were well suited for painful medical experimentation. This is a fool who said we didn't feel pain, essentially.
See, and
he cut into people with no anesthesia.
And he had a friend, and his name was Barnum, and he's the same Barnum with Barnum's and Bailey Circus. Are we talking about the same guy?
That's right. He was good friends with Barnum. Now, here's the sickest thing about that. Not only did he go in and do that, he also performed experiments on enslaved infants. And what he did was they suffered from what we now know as neonatal tetanus. He called it something nascentium, right? Thymus nascentium, which he believed was due to the intellectual flaws and the indecency of their parents. So he took what is known as a shoemaker's awl, and an awl is like a thing that looks like an ice pick. It's used to punch holes in leather. He would take that and put it into the skulls of infants at birth in an effort to realign their misshapen heads. Now, here's what to be. Of course, 100% fatality rate. He killed them. Every single one of them killed. But here's the piece. Neonatal tetanus originates in manure. Now, the reason why these infants ended up with neonatal tetanus, which he misdiagnosed in the first place, is because they forced people to live near or in animal stables. So now you attribute it to the indecency and intellectual flaws of the enslaved Africans. So it's their fault.
Lord have mercy.
So now what makes that even worse than all that, is the statue of him in Central Park. That's
right. I saw that, and I heard you speaking of that. And how many other of these atrocities have been manifest against us, and we have these big, beautiful edifices of these people who've done this to us. When I was in Bristol, England, I saw a statue of a man, and I started looking at his history, and the sisters were telling me, and I was like, well, why is he still here? But most of this, Doc, it has to do with our lack of knowledge and our ignorance that we just don't know. But I want to say this because the time is extending. That's why I said, sisters, we got to have you back. Our people, I mean, we haven't even scratched the surface, Dr. Griot, of what I saw and what I've heard, and I haven't even finished the book. So I got to get you back, and I definitely want you to check out the show. And first of all, let's give us some information on how they can reach you, Doc, and how they can get access to the book and the website.
JoyDegruy.com. Gruy.com. You can download my research. You can. There's a bunch of articles, different things I've written, and all the materials that I have, DVDs, tapes, book, all of that. And I am currently writing the second book, which it was so amazing how I started it, but it should be coming out here soon too.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to tell you thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your sojourn. Asante Sana for all your efforts. I know over years myself, this is trying, Doc. And you went out and did your own research. You did your work, and I just want to say thank you. And most people don't understand what it takes to be able to do what you have done. And I'd like to have you back on the show, sister, as a continuation. We don't want to have a show, Dr. Degruy, where we just come on and people get all impacted by what you say and they never hear from you again. And unfortunately, Doc, as good as the information was, some of us still just don't read. Sometimes
that's why I told you I put it in every form you can put it. I'm going to put it in Braille.
I feel you.
However you need to get it. I'll tell you, tell somebody else to tell you, with your cookie to tell you, whatever you need to do.
Well, look, Doc, any parting words? We're going to go ahead and shut down for tonight. And I just want to tell you thank you on behalf of the Griot Nation for your information and your tireless effort. Any closing remarks?
Closing remarks. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Let's go together.
I love it. Enough said. Dr. Joy Degruy, sister, thank you very much. I look forward to speaking with you. I'll give you a call later on tonight and see can we do a continuation.
All right.
Thank you, sister.
Bye-bye.
It's about life, love, liberation. I'm a Rashidi with the Griot Nation. The Griot Nation. Life, love, liberation. I'm a Rashidi with the Griot Nation. Life, love, liberation.
Hey there, you've reached Claire. Leave me a message.
Claire, it's Ann. Hey, you know that hormone balancing product we talked about before? The all-natural one, Amberin? Well, I gotta tell you this. Not only did Amberin stop my hot flashes, but since I started the Amberin program, I have lost so much weight. Seriously, even my belly fat, it's gone. I haven't been this thin in years. I feel great. Give me a call.
The leading cause of weight gain in women over 40 is hormonal imbalance. Until you balance your hormones, it can be practically impossible to lose weight. Amberin restores hormonal balance naturally, so the weight can just fall off. Yes, even that stubborn belly fat. Plus, Amberin eliminates other symptoms of hormonal aging too. So with your hormones in balance, you can feel great and finally lose the weight. Be one of the first 50 callers right now, and they'll send you a complimentary risk-free trial with a 30-day supply. Free. Call 1-800-773-1070. That's 1-800-773-1070. 1-800-773-1070.
Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and Pro Flowers is offering an amazing early bird special. 1 dozen assorted roses plus a free glass vase for just $19.99. Go to proflowers.com, look for the radio microphone in the upper right corner, and enter the secret code 3131. But hurry, this incredible deal expires this Friday. The price of roses will skyrocket during Valentine's Week. Order now from Pro Flowers to get huge savings. You pick the delivery date and it's guaranteed. 1 dozen stunning assorted roses sent fresh from the fields, guaranteed to stay fresh and beautiful for at least a full 7 days for only $19.99. And will include a free vase with every order. Remember, the price of roses can double, even triple during Valentine's Week, and this early bird special expires Friday. The only way to get this amazing deal is to visit proflowers.com. Look for the radio microphone in the upper right corner and enter the secret code 3131.
Boys, what are you listening to? Is that rap music?
But Mom, it's Rapidemic.
Rap a what?
Rapidemic.
What is Rapidemic?
It's a fun way to learn different subjects like multiplication.
F-U-L-G-I-P-L-Y, you gotta learn to multiply.
There's also Rapiphonics. It helps you sound out words.
At the silent E, and it makes the vowels long. Kits with the E makes kite, and rip with the E makes right.
And there's Rapid Speech.
Rapid Speech?
Yeah, it teaches the 8 parts of speech. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, interjections, prepositions, conjunctions.
For more information on Rapidemic's innovative products and services, please call us at 972-709-1788 or visit our website at www.rapidemics.com.
Rapidemics, because it just makes sense. Just makes sense. Just makes sense. Just makes